Hello everyone, my name's Mel and you've reached me at Patchy Pony Stitcher. This is my floss tube number 36 and today is the 2nd of September. If you're new and you've just stumbled across, welcome. Hope there's something here that you like, and if you're returning, thanks so much. I really appreciate you guys coming back to see my monthly updates and what I've been up to. So what have I been up to? It's spring here on the farm and life is getting a little bit more pleasant now that the cold's subsiding. With spring in the air, we've got the bees going flat stick. We're on lamb watch waiting for the baby lambs to arrive any day now. There's blossoms on the fruit trees, the bulbs are out, and the horses have their winter rugs off during the day, and it's just pleasant. It's so nice to see some nice weather, to be able to go outside and actually enjoy the time. And the chooks are back on the lay. Who doesn't love fresh farm eggs? It just makes weekends so nice when you can enjoy the farm a bit more. Hope you've all been well wherever you are around the world. With everything going on, it's just, it is what it is. We've just got to keep going with it and get through this whole COVID thing. Here in Tasmania, where I am, we are an island state, so we are on lockdown as far as people coming into our state, which is really a safe feeling. And locally, we don't have to wear masks, and we're pretty much, life is pretty much normal at the moment. We do have to social distance, of course, but really, we're pretty lucky. We are pretty lucky where we are. We haven't had any active cases for quite some time now. So let's hope it stays that way, and as we go into summer, life has a bit more normality about it. So my last floss tube was back in late July, and the reason I haven't been back is because I've been procrastinating about my finish. My FFO finish. So I said to you in my last video that I was going to FFO my polka dot Bikweenies, and I wanted to do a drum, and it sat there, and I got all the supplies I needed from the sewing shop. Watched the Vonna's tutorial a couple of times. Felt very familiar with it, but it just seemed a little bit daunting. So I put it off and I put it off and I put it off because it just seemed a little bit scary. And when you're FFOing stitched pieces, if you muck it up, it's heartbreaking. And I've been there, I've done that. I've mucked up something that I had to scrap and had to restitch it. So this one really, and I really like this piece, and it took me a long time, so I just didn't want to muck it up. So it sat there and I looked at it and I watched the tutorial, and I had a couple of days off work this week, and I thought, right, gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna sit down. If it takes me all day, it takes me all day to get this finished. And I did it. I got it finished. This is my drum finish of Yellow Polka Dot Bikweenies by Plum Street Sampler. So I finished the piece on 20 count aider, which I showed you in my last video. I added 2 lots of lace, some ribbon, and I picked out this yellow spotty for the yellow polka dot bikini material, and it's all puffy on top. So I'm just going to be waiting on some counting pins, summer themed counting pins from Christy at Once Upon a Needle Minder. Sorry Christy, it slipped me for a moment, but I'll link her Facebook page below. She also sells needle minders, but she also makes her own counting pins. So I'll just give you a closer look. I am just so pleased with that. Let's hope YouTube captures that as my screenshot. Probably not. It'll always grab the worst one ever. So unfortunately, no, it's coming into spring, summer. So this will be, I'm going to put this out now on once I take down my winter display. It is currently sitting on my winter display, but today being spring, I will pull all my winter decor down and do a spring display. That one actually might sit up in my shadow box until summer. I am so pleased with that. If you haven't tried a drum and you want to, give it a go, because it looks daunting, but it actually came together really well. And my biggest tip is that Vonna says, just take your time. You put your time into your stitching, take your time with your finishing, because it's slow and steady, and it just happened. It all just came together, just like she said. It's got some nice weight into it. You've really got to stuff them hard, but so happy. So that is my finish of yellow polka dot bikini, which I promised myself that I would get done before I came back and did another floss tube. So that is done, but I do have a second finish. Now let me grab, so this I showed you a little while ago that I finished the drawn thread Spot of Autumn, and I'd taken out the letters in, because this is a set, so there's a whole alphabet, but I just wanted to do this one. I got it off a D-stash, and I don't have the whole set. I didn't really want to order the whole set, so I had taken out the alphabet and just replaced, where are we? I just replaced it a little bit differently, did as much as I could, and it's got some specialty stitches in it. And now I've finished it up into a pillow. I found these buttons at my local my L&S, which is a Stitch in Time here in Hobart, and I added some of the light bulb shaped pins. So I went to go and order something online with these buttons. Couldn't find anything suitable other than 1, 2, 3 Stitch. I went into my shop here in Hobart and had a scrounge around in their button area, and perfect. I couldn't believe it. Absolutely perfect in colour and in size. And I finished off the back. So happy with how these matched up. And I did the pillow finish where you make a cut in the back of the fabric, and then I've just adhered some adhesive felt on the back, so I haven't even stitched it. It's literally just an iron-on wool felt, and then just another little accent with 2 little buttons with the light bulb pin, just to give it a bit of texture. Really happy with how that one came out. Now sadly, this one is going to have to go away because we're hitting spring, so this one will go into my autumn decor for next autumn. So I was really happy. I probably should have stuffed it a little bit more. It's a little bit fine in the corners, but this is how we learn, isn't it? Is starting them. But really happy with that cute finish. So actual stitching, let me pop that down there. I'm just going to take a sneaky, cheeky sip of my cup of tea. So stitching, I have been flat out. How many stitches did I get done? 8,797 stitches I've put in since I've seen you last. And the reason being is that on our Facebook group, the 30-day journaling group, there was a bit of a bingo challenge, which was right up my alley. So I sort of dropped everything to do this bingo challenge, and I touched 15 whips, 15 different whips to get through this challenge, which I did. I completed it. I'm so happy. And I hadn't seen it until, it was a month-long challenge, and I hadn't seen it until halfway through August. So I whipped it out in 2 weeks, which I was really happy about. But it means I did get to touch a lot of whips, but not a huge amount of progress on all of those. So some was only 200 stitches, others were a lot more than that. Oh, actually, before we get into showing you my whips, I need to show you another FO. So they were my 2 FFOs, but I did have an FO. So this one is, did I get the sheet? Yes, I did. Country Horse Holiday, this one. This is where I was up to before. So I changed the colours on this one to suit my thoroughbred that I've got, Jimmy. Oops. And this is my FO. I have ironed this, and I've only used DMC, so I've been able to give it a bit of a spritz with some water, and I cannot for the life of me get that crease out where the fabric was folded. And it's a linen, Zweigart linen that I got off a D-stash, so I'm not sure if it's a factory dye or a hand dyed, but I am so happy with that one. I didn't want to make it Christmassy as the original chart is, because here in Australia our Christmases are not wintry, so I thought I could put this out at winter as part of my winter decor. So I want to FFO this one framed, and I had this in my stash. I don't know if you can see, it's quite an old frame with a bit of detail there on it. I might just put that so you can see. And it was cream, so I painted it blue, and then I painted it white, then let that dry. I painted it white, and then I wiped the white paint off so you can still see the blue. So this is what I'm thinking. If I can hold it up with it, without glass in it, and maybe a little bit of wadding just to give it a little bit of poof, but I really don't have a lot of... This is quite an old frame. It looks like it's been painted and painted again. I don't really have a huge amount of depth in this little frame, but I think it's quite dainty to match the border, because I didn't really want a heavy frame when I've got a border that's quite dainty. Don't you just love his little white socks? So I did that as his colouring. I'll put a photo of him in here so you can see how I've tried to mimic his socks and his colouring. So really happy with that. I'm a little bit unsure on the font. My husband reckons it looks like Timmy. It should be Jimmy. What do you do? I had to have a fiddle with it because I had to put the above the eye, because the eye didn't have those two little tails and it looked like a W. So I put the little bit above the eye just to define that it is an I and not a W. I've signed it. I tried to put 2020 in, but I couldn't get it to go nice. So happy with how that's coming along. So next video you'll see that one actually FFO'd and in its frame and ready to be tucked away for next winter's display. Okay, another sneaky, cheeky sip of the tea. Oh, love my tea. It's cup number 3 this morning and it's only 9:30. Now, while I had the sewing machine out, I thought I would put together a project bag with the fabric that Natalie sent me in Happy Mail. She sent me some lovely fabric and some beautiful horse-related charms. So I made this this project bag from the fabric that Natalie sent me, and I matched it just with this nice floral. And please don't notice that the back is upside down. Anyway, what do? I wasn't going to unstitch it and everything once I realised I'd done it, and I've just lined it with the same coordinating fabric on the back. Probably used interfacing that's a little bit hard. You can see the bag's quite stiff and it was hard to turn inside out. And then I've got my little, I'll show you the charm, the zipper pull that I made with some of the charms that she sent through to me. So we've got carrot, 2 horses, a horseshoe, and you can't really see, and there we go, and an apple. So thank you, Natalie. That fabric went to super duper good use. Could always do with another project bag, can't I? Especially since I had a new start this video. So happy with how that one came along. I've still got the sewing machine out because I've got one more project bag that I want to finish while the sewing machine's out, and as I said to my husband, once it's out, it stays out until all the jobs are done, because you don't drag all this stuff out onto the table, only then to pack it up to pull it back out. So it keeps me honest and keeps me sewing until I get all those jobs done. Okay, time to show you some of the whips that I've actually been working on as part of the challenge group. Now, if you're a long time watcher, you'll know that I don't show you every whip that I've touched in between my videos. I'm only going to show you the 5 with the most amount of work in them. You don't want to see something that's only had 200 stitches put into it. So this one is going to be, that I'm going to show you first of all, is a new start, because I needed a, what was this one I needed? I think it was the N in the designer, because we had to have the word bingo, and you had to use with a designer for each of the letters. So this is a tricky one to pronounce, and I'm really sorry, Debbie, if I butcher this, but I think, because I haven't heard you mention the name for a while, because you may not have been working on some of her patterns, but I think it's Trebbe, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So I needed the N in for bingo. No, sorry, this one was for the title, where I needed the E in the pattern design in blankets, because it was a beach blanket bingo. And I needed the E, so I needed a chart that had the word E in the title of it. But it is by Trebbe. I hope that's right, Debbie, because I love the way you say it. It sounds so cool. So Debbie had passed, I actually won this out of a giveaway from her channel, and I just love it. It's a sort of a mandala autumn. There's squirrels and acorns and so forth. So this one finally got a start, and I'm doing this on like a natural linen. And this is where I got up to. So this is 500 stitches. I haven't ironed anything, I'm really sorry. So this is just the centerpiece of this one. So as you can see, it's only a teeny weeny bit. So my fabric count tells me I've got enough fabric. I really hope I do, because I don't want to put all that work in and not get that far. But really happy with that, and I'll show you the color choices, because I've pulled all fancy flosses that I had in my stash for this one, and I have already started to pull out. Now, too many things and not enough hands. So this is the fabric, the color choices that I'm going with. So we've got 2 Victoria motto. We've got 2 silks for you. One of them I've already pulled out the skein, and then 1 week's dye works. So really happy with how it's coming along, and I think they'll make beautiful autumn colors. So that one is my, I don't even, Eekhoorn. So I'm just going to call that my autumn mandala. So that was the one with the least amount of stitches that I'm going to show you, and that had 500. The next one I'm going to show you is my Prairie Romance. You haven't seen this one for a long time, and it's on my frame. So I'm going to switch you around and give you a look at that one. So this is where it was before. Where we're up to now. So I've put more in on here and another whole row. This bit is so boring, being only sort of 4 colours, but we're getting there. Loving how the progress is coming along. It's a little bit with all my parked threads, but really happy. It's going to be a big long-term project, but we'll get there. So it's coming along. Every time I have visitors, people come in and they like to have a look at it. I don't think they can really see much progress. And even my husband came over and had a look at it the other day, and he was like, when are you going to finish it? And I'm like, it's not about the finishing, it's all about the process, And because he doesn't see, you know, 100 stitches here and 100 stitches there, I don't think he sees how much it's actually growing and getting longer. But I do love my Prairie Romance. The next one I'm going to show you is the Blue Flowers Autumn Squirrel. And I haven't brought the chart over, of course. So this is where I was up to before. And this is where I'm up to now. And this one got 708 stitches in it. So a reasonable amount. I'm really looking forward to getting on to the Eekhoorn part of this, because the squirrel is just taking ever so long and being such a large squirrel. But there's no hurry for him because we're entering into spring. So this one's on a 16 count coffee and tea dyed Ada, and we've got Victoria motto again along with the DMC in that one. And the last one I want to show you, oh, so I forgot to say, in my Prairie Romance we put in 1,680 stitches, so that's why it was quite substantial. And the next one that's had substantial work in it is the Farms. Yay! Finally getting some progress and actually finally starting to enjoy it again, because I've nearly completed this middle bit, the double whammy box. So I'm not going to show you the whole piece of where I'm up to. I'm just going to show you what I've been working on. So this is where it was before. And this is where it's up to now. So I've actually touched 3 different boxes. I've got a teeny tiny bit of the barn to finish up here. I did most of the tree, and I took this into my car as my car project while my son had training on for football, and I got there and I had left the chart for this one because they're all separate charts. I'd left this sitting on my frame. So I had no choice but to start in this one, otherwise I was going to be sitting there for over an hour without any stitching to do. So it wasn't ideal that I started this box, but I'd already framed it up, which was handy because I really want to get this one completed before we move on to that one, but I wasn't going to be sitting doing nothing. So I started the carrot tops on that one and the bunny. Really happy. This looks, yeah, now that it's actually full, I'm really happy with how it's coming along. I'm a bit, this horse head disturbs me. It really does. This is how it's charted. I've checked other people's on Instagram. I've looked at the model, and it's definitely meant to be like that. But it disturbs me. I feel like it's just, I know her designs are meant to be a little bit quirky, but the rest of the animals are fairly proportional, but the head and the nose on that horse, so I may or may not go back and fudge that because there's so many other personalizations in this chart that it wouldn't overly matter too much. So this is on 16 count Ada, coffee and tea dyed, meant to look like a Hessian sack, so that's my unstitched fabric. So I wanted it to look really roughed up and like it was a Hessian sack out of the farmer's shed. Really happy with how that's coming along. So that one got 1,758 stitches in it this month, which was quite a substantial lot because that one's sort of been, oh, I'll get to it. It's, yeah, wasn't really singing to me, so I was just battling through it where it was only the one pattern that I could use in a challenge that actually fitted. So that's when I was using it, whereas now I'm trying to fit it into the challenges as a first priority, just so I can keep getting that through it. And while the momentum's there and the need and feel to want to pick it up, I can. Stash enhancements. So I got my Silks for You. Now I always forget whether it's colour of the month or silk of the month, or I can't remember. Sorry guys. So I get 4 skeins and each one is 15 meters long from Silks For You, and these are the August Club. So we've got 2 solids. This is so pretty, this one. And I love how they sort of match together. So if you were going to pick something up, you've actually got 2 to choose from. So we've got 2 solids and 2 variegateds from this month. And they're an Australian company, which I really like to support. And the other, I've also joined up through my LNS, the Week's Dye Works Floss of the Month. And this is the very first, I should just show you that side. This is the very first shipment, and it's beginning right from the beginning of A. So not sure too much on that absinthe green. I've already got a skein of that from a club that when I was previously in it. So I've got 2 of those. So I really need to find something that I can use that really bright green in. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Weeks Dye Works in that one. So they can now go into my stash. I went shopping with a friend maybe 2 weeks ago, and we went into a second-hand shop, and I finally got myself a trivet. And I was so rapt to see this. I've been wanting to do a finish in one of these for a while, and it's only a nice small one, which I was really pleased about. I haven't knocked the tile out as yet because I do want to try and keep the tile so I can wrap and lace the stitching around it. But it's quite a pretty, I like the design of it, and it's not huge. And then it's got the rubber feet on it, but I will probably try and put a stand on it so it can stand upright. So I was really happy to find one of these. Michelle Bendy finds them all the time. They're not as that easy to find in the thrift shops down here. And I didn't actually find it in a thrift shop. It was actually like a second-hand shop, like all sorts of bits and pieces of old things. But I was happy to get one of those to give that type of finishing a crack. One more stash enhancement. I saw this on Instagram. I can't remember who showed it, but they had started it, and I just absolutely love it. And again, it's a chart that I'm going to have trouble pronouncing, and even a designer. So that's the name of it. But this is the chart. And that photograph of the digital, the chart just does not do it justice. When I saw the actual stitched piece on Instagram, it was just beautiful. And Caroline, with who does stitching off the grid, just off the grid, she's working on a chart from the same designer, similar but a bit bigger in the boxes, and not as many boxes. But I just love that. And this only took 2 weeks to come. I think it's German, because of course you can't read it, and it's the email address is .de, which I think is a German email address, or is it Danish? I don't know. If you know, because it didn't have on their website, it didn't have an English conversion, not like our Forest Embroidery where you can click on English and then everything is in English. I just sort of had to I had to sort of go through blindly, and because it had postage, I knew it was going to be an actual chart and not a PDF. So that didn't bother me, and I'm really happy with, it's quite a few pages, and they gave me it hasn't got any alpha characters in it, but the chart did include a couple of different alphabets, which was really handy, which I used on the finish of the Country Horse chart where it had Jimmy in it. That's where I got the alphabet from. So that will be a new start for more than likely next year, because we're still sitting at quite a few whips, and now that I've added a new start into the mix, which wasn't intentional, because I really like to do all my starts during Mania and try and work through them through the year, but I really needed something with E in it, and I didn't want to not start it just for the sake of waiting until March. So, but I can probably say that that one is definitely not going to see a start till next year, because I've got a few that I crack on and get finished this year. Okay, happy mail. So this one, these are two giveaways that I won. The first one is through Annie, and I'll link her channel below. And it is the Sing a Sampler series, the first one, part 1, Do Re. And I just love this. I think I saw Jan Hicks stitch these up, and I had them on my wish list then. So after winning this one and it arriving, I went and ordered the other 3 off 123 Stitch, and also the 2020 Creating Keepsake, one of the magazine's Christmas Ornaments edition. So because I wanted to get the magazine, and I thought, well, I cannot have a magazine travel alone, so I ordered the 3 additional pieces to this one. So I was really happy that came, and I think Elizabeth Can Stitch is also doing these as well. So we might try. I might try and contact Elizabeth and see if she wants to do them together. But I love Sound of Music, so I was really happy to get that one. And yeah, so even though it was a passing the stash, and some people agree and disagree about sharing charts, but by winning this, I've gone and purchased the other 3, which I may or may not have done otherwise. But having this in my hot little hands, I went and purchased the additional 3 charts to go to that set. The other lovely chart that I won is by the Blackberry Rabbit, called The Visitor. Isn't that gorgeous? So Elizabeth from Elizabeth Can Stitch had this as her giveaway, and I just love that bee skip. It is just beautiful, and Elizabeth's whip looks stunning. So unfortunately, I don't have the time to start this one this year, but yeah, this is going to be a definite one for next spring and summer. So that's by the Blackberry Rabbit, and that's a 2020 chart. It's 140 by 108, so it's not huge, but there's quite a lot of stitching in it, and it calls for Classic Colour Works, DMC, Gentle Arts and Weeks, but it does have DMC conversion. But there's going to be a few in that one that I think have to be the variegated ones, just to really make that one sing. So they were my 2 happy mails. Now, giveaways. I still haven't heard from you, Noni, in regards to last video's giveaway. So if you're watching, jump back a video and check out that one, because if I don't hear from you by my October video, I will have to redraw for the giveaway from my anniversary giveaway. So last video I was giving away Plum Street Samplers Merry You, because I had finished this one and I'm passing this one along, which is also another part of a set. And I will pop the video in here of the random word picker. Okay, so we've got the video link, we've put in the keyword, which was you, spelled E-W-E. We're going to get comments. We've got 12, and we're going to pick a winner. Stitched Lit, congratulations. I loved your finish for Merry You. I need to move beyond pillows and frames. Can't wait to see how you finish the horse project bag. Well, congratulations, Stitched Lit, and let's go back to the video. So congratulations, Stitched Lit. If you want to send me an email, my email is in the drop down box below, and then I can get that sent out for you, and you may have time to get that one stitched up before Christmas. So this video, I'm going to be giving away the Drawn Thread Spot of Autumn. So this is the one that I FFO'd at the beginning of the video today. So again, this one is part of a set, but this is just for this particular one. It doesn't say how many are actually in the set. And it might be a little hard to get hold of actually the whole set because the copyright on this is 1998. But as you've seen, you don't have to do the letters in the chart. You can supplement other things in there just like I did. This does have a charm on it, which doesn't come with it, of course, because this was a D-stash purchase that I had gotten. But a nice sweet little fall or autumn chart, and it stitches up quite quickly. So if you would like to win the Drawn Threads Spot of Autumn, can you please put the word spot in a sentence for me? And that will be the keyword that I'm looking for when I do the random word picker. So put spot in your comment. Happy to ship anywhere in the world. And that brings me up to plans. What have I got planned for at the moment? So still happy and continuing to do my cross-stitch journal group challenges. Sorry, mental block there. I really enjoy just having those little prompts and flicking in between projects and just keeping track that way. I like not knowing. I try and do one prompt and get it out and do it all in one day, and then not know what I'm going to pick until I sit down and look at the prompt for the next one and then do that prompt. So it's sort of, I don't know what I'm going to be stitching the very next day, which is sort of what I really like. It's fun sort of sitting down and working out what project you've got fits into that prompt. So and looking through all your different projects. I've got about 27 at the moment. I will not ever go beyond 31 because that's my Madness. That is the mania limit, 31. So I can't go beyond that. But I do like to try and put, as I said, my farms as a higher priority. So if that's going to fit into any of the prompts, that's what's going to be the first option, or Prairie Romance, and then go through the list. And I usually try to work in the older the start on them, higher up the priority they have when I'm trying to get them to fit in with a prompt. So I will continue with that through to October. And by the time we get to October, we'll all be well and truly into the middle of spring or fall, autumn, wherever you are. So I hope you're looking forward to and enjoying the seasonal change, because I know I just love the change from winter to spring and also from summer into autumn. There's something, a bit of a relief, whether it's the heat of the summer that you're falling out of or coming into some warmer weather out of the out of the winter cold. So until I see you next time, guys, stay safe and enjoy your stitching. Bye.